Congratulations on booking your very first cruise. Whether your sailing is 2 months from now or over a year away, let yourself be excited. That's part of the experience. What's up, everybody? It's Nick from Who Dat Travel. Cruising can be a ton of fun, but it'll be even better if you're prepared for it. Now that your countdown has begun, you're probably wondering what needs to be done before you can leave for your trip. You definitely don't want to get to the terminal unprepared. There are some universal things you should get ready for any cruise, no matter if you're escaping to the tropics or embarking on a once-in-a-lifetime Alaskan or European sailing. Here are some of those things you need to do in order to best prepare for your first cruise. The first thing that I suggest to do is get your travel documents ready. You will need to ensure that you can account for all of your important travel documents, and you want to make sure that you do this early. If you need to get a passport or renew one, this could take months, so making sure that it is done is extremely important. If you're traveling with a passport, make sure that it is valid for at least 6 months after the date of your cruise is scheduled to return. For instance, if your cruise is going to return August 17th of 2024, your passport must be valid until at least February 17th of 2025. Each cruise line and cruise will inform you of what documentation you will need to board, and you want to make sure you get that together. Getting all of this out of the way in the beginning will definitely make things a lot smoother when you go to board your cruise ship. This does mean locating your passport or possibly the original birth certificate and government-issued photo ID, cruise boarding documentation, luggage tags, and even your flight information if you're going to be flying to your departure port. Do this as soon as possible and it will be smooth sailing. Yeah, sorry, had to make that pun. My next suggestion is get your cash and credit situation understood. Depending on what you plan to do in port, you may need cash for taxis, restaurants and cafes, museums, beach chairs and umbrella rentals, and the all-important souvenirs. But how much do you need per port? Well, that really is hard to say, and it depends a lot on where you are, how many people you have with you, your spending habits, and what you plan to do, of course. If I was forced to give you a number, I would recommend between $100 and $200 per port. Additionally, you'll want cash if you plan on gambling in the casinos on board the ship. While you can sometimes charge casino purchases to your onboard account, you will usually need cash if you plan on playing any table games. Plus, using cash may help you stick to a budget. Also, you'll want to bring extra cash to be able to tip workers on the ship. Most major cruise lines will charge gratuities to your onboard ship account. However, for the people who have gone above and beyond, cash is really necessary to tip them. It may be important to have local currency as well. While you can exchange currency at most international airports, it's gonna cost you. It is definitely more costly to do that. So if you can go to your local bank or credit union prior to leaving, that is going to be the best way. The second best way to exchange currency that I have found is to use an ATM at your destination. But make sure it is attached to a bank and not some random ATM in an alleyway. The ATMs normally will charge a small fee between $5 and $10 and the current exchange rate. If you're cruising to the Caribbean, the US dollar generally will suffice. Exchanging currency is more of a higher importance if you're taking a cruise to Europe, Asia, South America, Australia, etc., where the US dollar is, not really widely accepted. You can, of course, use your credit card on land, but you don't want to be hit with the expensive foreign transaction fee. Personally, it is definitely worth it to look into getting a travel credit card that has no foreign transaction fee. This allows you to use a credit card and they get the exchange rate of the exact moment that you swipe that credit card without any other fee. In my experience, Visa is normally the best brand to go with since it truly is accepted all over the world. American Express cards are starting to be more accepted, but I have still had some issues personally. My next tip is to spend some time researching your cruise ship and the itinerary. The key to having the perfect vacation is to spend a little bit of time researching helpful tips for your cruise. And while you're watching this, so you are started on that journey. You may want to do an in-depth dive into the ship that you're going to be on, and you're also going to want to research what there is to do in each port of call. During this research, you might find out about a secret little area on the ship or special games to play on board the ship during your days at sea. You only have so much time on board, so knowing about these hidden features and amenities ahead of time will help you make the most of your cruise. Plus, you do only have a limited time at each port, so you're definitely going to want to figure out the best way to maximize your time ashore. It is best to have a game plan for the day before you dock, and really, if I'm going to be honest, before you even get on board your cruise ship. Whether you're going to hang out close to the ship in the cruise port, or going on a third-party excursion, or even the excursions provided by the ship. Knowing what you're going to do before you get there is the best idea. If you wait until you get on the ship to book any of these tours, you might find out that one of that you really wanted is already sold out. My next bit of advice is to pack appropriately. Now, what you are going to pack on an Alaskan versus a Caribbean and versus a European cruise are definitely going to vary. For an Alaskan cruise, you're going to want to focus more on packing different layers that you can adjust as the temperature fluctuates throughout the day. In the Caribbean, however, you're probably going to put a little more emphasis on beachwear. Now, the evening dress code will differ between cruise lines and onboard venues. Overall, cruises tend to be less formal than they used to be. That being said, it doesn't mean that you can't go all out and dress up if you want to. Nothing is stopping you from breaking out that evening gown or that tux if you want to. Of course, you can dress more casually if you'd like to as well. A mix of nicer pants and jeans, polos, collared shirts, blouses, skirts, etc. will suffice for most evenings. Most cruises have themed days and or nights as well. Now definitely do your research if you're going to want to partake. The themes are usually some sort of decade night, white party, pirate, Pixar, Star Wars, or Marvel at sea. I will warn you, Disney cruisers go all out for their theme days. The next bit of advice, make sure that you have your toiletries. Unlike hotels, not all cruise lines provide complimentary toiletries. You will probably find a mystery body wash or shampoo in the shower, but if you're picky, it's best that you bring your own. Make sure that you have shampoo and conditioner, face wash, deodorant, razors, shaving cream, body wash, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and hairbrushes. Yeah, there's a lot to bring before you leave for your cruise. In addition to toiletries, you're probably going to want to pack some different medications too. You never know if you're going to find yourself a little seasick one morning, or maybe have a headache from, we'll call it not drinking enough water, or maybe you hit the bar a little too hard. So make sure that you pack a bit of seasickness remedy and some Motrin, and maybe even a couple allergy pills just in case. The ship's store will have a limited selection of toiletries for purchase if you happen to forget anything. However, they are going to probably be quite expensive compared to what you would pay on land. You may want to visit the ship's first aid if you're in a pinch as well. Now, don't make the mistake that I did and forget your carry-on bag. Now, I had my carry-on bag. I just messed up and gave it to the porters. So when you board your cruise, you're going to want to make sure that you have a carry-on bag. Now, it doesn't have to be a suitcase, but rather a bag that you keep on your person. This includes your passport, medication, electronic devices, a swimsuit to change into if you really want to hit that pool deck first thing, and of course, cruise line approved alcohol and your jewelry. Now, it does normally take 2 to 3 hours to have your luggage delivered to your stateroom, so it is critical that you put everything that you're going to need for that time in this bag. You will also want to make sure that it is a manageable size, because you're going to carry it with you, as your room may not be ready when you board the ship to drop it off at. The last thing that you want to do is to be responsible for carrying this behemoth of a heavy, oversized bag around for hours. Next, you are going to definitely want to book your add-ons in advance. Now, your base fare will include select complimentary dining venues and beverages, entertainment, accommodations, and transportation between ports. But if you want to do anything else to enhance your vacation, you will have to pay a little bit extra for your cruise add-ons, unless you're booking a more inclusive fare. This includes beverage packages, shore excursions, spa treatments, internet, and specialty dining experiences. Reserving these in advance will not only give you the peace of mind, as you will not have to worry about slots filling up, but you may also get a better deal than if you booked them on the ship. If you want to get a carnival drink package, for instance, It'll save you about 10% by purchasing it in advance. It also allows you to be able to spread out your purchases of your trip a little more by doing this early. The worst feeling in the world would be to board the ship just to find out that there is no spots for the excursion that was on your must-do list. Next, make complimentary dining experiences if you've booked the flexible option. Some cruise lines allow travelers to choose between a set dining and flexible dining. Flexible dining allows you to either show up at a dining room whenever you're ready to eat or reserve times in advance. This option is great for guests who need a little bit of flexibility for their dining schedule on board the cruise. If, for instance, you plan on staying late in port one day but still want to eat in the dining room, you'll be able to make a reservation for later in the evening. If you had the early seating, you may have missed out on that experience altogether. If you're able to, you should book your dining times as soon as possible. Otherwise, you might find that you're waiting 30 plus minutes just to be seated. Finally, complete the online check-in before getting to the terminal. Now, completing the online check-in will help you board your cruise ship faster. You do not want to get held up finalizing your travel documents in the terminal when you're only steps away from the ship. You will want to get on board the ship and start enjoying your vacation right away. You will need to input some personal information, including your passport number, set up your onboard account, print your boarding pass and luggage tags, and tell them your onward travel plans. Some cruises will have you set up access to things like the Kids Club early as well. It only takes a few minutes, and you will be grateful that you did it when you breeze through the embarkment. The earlier you complete your online check-in, the earlier arrival time you will be able to select. It's no surprise that these are some of the most desirable times because everyone wants to start their vacation as soon as you can. I hope these tips really helped you, and if they did, please give it a thumbs up. It really does help the YouTube algorithm to spread this out to additional people for them to be helped as well. And of course, if you like this content, hit the subscribe button and the bell to be notified when I release new content. With that being said, I hope everybody has a great day, and we'll see you real soon. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.